Let me paint a picture for you. Industry friend approaches me. We're at an event, and he says, Spencer, I appreciate what you do. I'm in the middle of a conversation with a friendly competitor. It looks like we might get a deal done, but quite honestly, I have a lot of angst around whether or not this can happen because I don't really know what he's gonna do with my people if he does buy this business, and they're the ones who basically made the business what it is. And so I don't know if I can do anything based on not knowing what that is gonna look like. This is a very common situation. I'm Spencer Tenney, CEO of the Tenney Group. We are an M&A advisory firm that's dedicated to transportation and logistics. Why is this important? Because it's very easy for business owners to connect with a prospective, even of a very strong candidate as a buyer. And they forget about all the other things that are necessary as part of the M&A process. As a result of that, it's very limiting and it's very stressful. So here's what happened next. I started asking questions. I said, well, how do you know that this buyer is the right buyer? How do you know that the money is going to be the right money? How do you know that there isn't something else that might be available that could be more compelling? And I asked him another thing, what's their expectation for you? And I think there's a lot of different things that happen here in terms of why there is confusion about the role of the M&A advisor in this process. And so there's three things, there's a lot of things, but three things specifically that are critical for business owners to understand in terms of what they should expect their M&A advisor to do in terms of the value that they're bringing to that process. A lot of times finding the buyer is pretty easy. The real issue is, number one, they should provide multiple options so that you can trust the offer that you ultimately accept. I've seen this 1,000 times. You might have a premium offer on the table, but if there's not a context in place for the seller to appreciate that, they're not going to accept it, or they're going to find it very difficult to accept. And they certainly won't appreciate it, which that's a problem as well. Number two, they need to have options to select the right trustee for taking the business into the future. Ideally, what's happening in a traditional M&A process is that the seller's not only looking at the quantitative results, they're also evaluating what's the post-transaction strategy of the buyer and what impact will that have on the people that the seller believes actually, they're the people that they care about. They want to know that they're taken care of. It's a big deal. So when you can evaluate those post-transaction strategies, you're going to have a better feel and you're going to be able to select the right trustee. And then the third thing is, what's the role for me? Typically, depending on who the person is, sometimes you're going to jive with who that buyer is. You might want to collaborate, but sometimes you may not. You might not share their vision, and you might not want to be a part of that. It might be too emotional to be a part of that next chapter if you're not the CEO anymore. So the point is just to have options. And when you can go through those three questions and to be able to confidently select what's the best fit for you, you're going to have a much more seamless exit on your terms. That's the issue. And so that's my encouragement to you. Is like when you're beginning to think about this process, you want to think about what you want to experience, and it's just very difficult to simulate that, number one, on your own, but number two, if you're only dealing with one buyer. So I hope that's helpful. Again, if you're going to exit on your terms, it always starts with education. Remember to hit us back at thetennygroup.com. We'll see you soon.